Welcome back to the Adventure Athletes podcast. Guys, it has been a little while since I've spoken to you guys on the camera. So much has happened in the past 6 months, but that is against the point. The podcast is back, baby. We're back and we're better than ever. As you can see, we've got a whole new studio. We've got brand new cameras. We're back and better than ever. We've got so many amazing guests lined up for you guys. But if there's anyone in particular that you want to hear from, please let us know in the comments and I'll see what I can do to get them booked on. But I don't think you're going to be disappointed at all with any of the guests that we've got lined up for you guys. Today we've got Carl on. Now Carl is a phenomenal runner. He's gone from having a brain injury to getting into ultra running to having a stroke, and that's only made him want to run even more. So it's been an absolute pleasure getting to know Carl, having him on the podcast, and yeah, he was number one guest for being the first one back. I've wanted to do this with him for like 6 months now. We've been talking about it back and forth, but I just haven't had the capacity or the space to run the podcast the way I wanted to. But we're back now, and I can't wait to share this story with you. So without any further hesitation, let's get into the podcast. Welcome back to the Adventure Athletes podcast.
What was your call to adventure, Carl?
Illness. So I suffered a concussion from boxing, and so that was the start of everything really. So I lost my ability to walk and talk and stuff from the injury, and we had to start from the beginning again. So I started running. Done my first half marathon in October 2019, and then done my first ultra in 2020, February 2020. So
Just before lockdown.
yeah, just before lockdown, and then 2 weeks after that I had my stroke then, and that was during lockdown pretty much. So that was during the start of COVID, and I got discharged from hospital after like being in there for 4 hours, and my stroke subsided and I got discharged straight away, and
So how did you make the jump from half to ultra in like such a short time?
I was just watching like YouTube videos and stuff, and like everybody watches like the David Goggins and Jocko and all all the motivational stuff and that, and it just really sort of I watching a lot of Courtney stuff, and I just got really inspired by it all, and I just thought I just felt like it was something I had to do.
How far was your first ultra?
So the first ultra was 43 miles. So, and then so I was Brecon to Cardiff.
So I've only just broken the 40-mile barrier, right, doing the 8 for 8. So I've been doing ultras. My first was 2019. So I've been doing it for almost 6 years, and I've only just caught up with the distance of your first ultra.
Yeah, but yeah, no, I was doing like some loop time event stuff, and just trying to build up, and so I was doing like a lot of. So every day I'd go to Aberdare Park and I'd run 10 miles around Aberdare Park, and I'd look at the mountains and I just think, I just love to be on the mountains one day, because for some reason I just really felt passionate about it, and so we just chipped away, and we got the first one done. It was in a storm as well, Storm Chiara. So yeah, it was a test of everything. And like I say, 2 days after then I suffered a stroke, and that's when it all sort of fell apart, and then you start learning to appreciate what you've lost. So yeah, it was a bit of a rough old time.
Yeah. Going back to your brain injury then, what caused you to get into running from the brain injury? Like what were the stepping stones to get you from being like, I've got this brain injury from boxing and now I'm gonna start running halves and ultras?
Yeah, so basically, like, I used to do like a couple of weekly runs at the boxing gym, like sort of, yeah, they were probably like a mile or two, and that was pretty much it. There was never anything really more than that. But yeah, it was just basically because everything got taken away from me, and like, do you know what I mean, boxing was my passion. I was like really, like, do you know what I mean, I was training like really hard, and I was only a gym sparrer. I was nothing anything other than a gym sparrer. I didn't have any fights or anything like that, but it was just something I was really passionate about, and because it just felt as if it changed it changed a lot of. Yeah, I was a very nervous kid and stuff, so it just gave me a bit more confidence, and yeah, it changed me as a person really, and just made me a little bit more confident. Probably I was very anxious. Yeah, I was a very anxious person as well. So when I was in a crowd, I didn't feel so anxious and stuff. So yeah, it worked. Them type of things. But then when all that was taken away from me, I just wanted to try and find something else. And so yeah, I was. So my brother offered me a place in his. So he had a Cardiff half marathon place, and he said, "Do you want to run it?" And I was just like, "Well, it's next week," and he was just like, "Well, you got a week to train for it." So I went out and I ran a half marathon that first day, and yeah, it was awful. And then I think I ran once or twice that week, and then went to Cardiff half marathon. Literally, I turned up, but I just sat on a curb and I just thought, what am I doing? And I just cried because I was an emotional mess anyway, but due to like the brain injury and stuff. So yeah, I just sat there and cried, and yeah, rocked up to the start, and probably the worst thing I've ever done. But I wanted to master it. I knew I was never going to become good at it, but I thought, let's just try and master this, and then yeah, that was the start of running ultras basically. So yeah.
So from this just awful experience of your half marathon, you was just like, it just sounds like there was almost something to prove, or like some sort of overcoming that you wanted to do, something for yourself.
Yeah, 100%.
Not like proving to other people, but like,
Yeah, I just think. Yeah, I was always meant to do something, because I've always been like the bigger kid in school. I was always the one that was teased and stuff, and I was quite lazy, and yeah, but so maybe it was something I had to prove to myself. I don't know, but yeah, for some reason I started to like the suffering, and it was like I used to like getting punched in the head as well, as weird as it sounds. But yeah, I got something from it, and I don't know what it was. So yeah, then I found running was giving me that. Yeah, it was giving me that same feeling or worse feeling, and yeah, it's just that overcoming all these feelings, and yeah, it was something that I enjoyed.
talk us through your first ultra then, and the stroke that happened after it.
Yeah, so once again, I turned up at the start of Brecon at Cardiff, felt uneasy. My brother dropped me off, and but yeah, I just looked around, and I was just felt like a little fish in a big pond. It was way out of my depth, but yeah, I got on the start, and I tried, got through it, and but yeah, so a couple of days later then, so I done like a back-to-back 8 mile run. I think it was 2 days later. My car was in the garage, so I went up to my mates and to pick my car up. So I run up there, and yeah, I started feeling a little bit funny. I had a loud buzzing noise in my ear, and I just thought, oh, maybe it's just like I needed a bit of sugar or something. But then I could feel my legs starting to go, so I sat down, and then my mate started. So I tried texting as well, and I couldn't move my left hand, so I was just like, something didn't feel right. And then my mate spoke to me, and he's just like, "Are you okay?" and I couldn't speak. I was dribbling, my face had dropped, and he said, "You're having a stroke." He took my phone off me and he dialed the ambulance. He dialed 999 straight away, and yeah, paramedics were there within about 20 minutes, and they gave me an injection, took me to hospital, and yeah, I was out discharged after my stroke subsided about 4 hours, I think. So, like I said, I was paralysed on my left side. My face dropped. Yeah, I was dribbling, couldn't speak, and yeah, it's probably one of the scariest things I've ever experienced.
I know that you've gone back. Has it been like every year since, pretty much, to redo that event and again try and overcome that?
Yeah, I think it's like I think I've missed one event, but yeah, I go back to try and relive it, and yeah, just to make sure that it's like it's not going to happen again, because in my head, like, and again, once you read up on strokes, they always say the first one is a warning sign for a second one. So you're always on edge, really, and waiting for a second one to happen. So I just think if I just keep going back and trying it, then it's going to, like, settle my mind a bit that it's not going to happen again. So, like, this year I went back and I done the Brecon, the Cardiff Extreme. So, but yeah, I didn't have a stroke, so I was alright.
Yeah, it's just I'm quite interested in this whole idea of, so you did your first half, had an awful experience, and then you was like, I want to get better at this. I'm going to do an ultra. You turn up, have an awful experience.
Yeah.
2 days later, you have a stroke. Like, most people would then be put off running and being like, this isn't for me. I'm not doing this.
I booked the 50 miler for July.
This is what I mean. This is what I'm so fascinated by with you, is the thought that you keep coming back no matter how bad the experience is. Like, where does that come from?
I don't know. I just don't know if it's like, I don't know if it's because of these motivational speakers I listen to, and, like I say, Navy SEAL stuff and the not quit stuff. But yeah, I just don't want to be that person. I don't want to be that person that gets beat by life. And yeah, there's been times that it's been tough, because obviously after the stroke I started self-harming and stuff, because you fear it's going to happen again. So I just thought, at least if I keep busy and keep moving, keep my blood flowing, then it's not going to happen. So yeah, it's a bit of a, yeah, it was a rough whole time.
You've gone through like a lot of adversity in your life. Like, obviously, I know you by now. It's not the first time we've met, and like, we know quite a lot about each other. And it's just, I'm really interested in what running gives you that helps you overcome the rest of your life, because you're very open about it on social media. You're always posting every day, from what I see, sometimes multiple times a day. And it's just like, why running specifically?
So yeah, the reason I post is because every time I run, it makes me feel confident. Because if I didn't run, I probably couldn't post, because I'm not a confident person. But again, I just feel as if I can share my struggles and make somebody realise that it doesn't matter what you go through, you can still get to the other side of suffering, and yeah, do you know what I mean? You can still keep moving and still keep going. Then yeah, that's my purpose, really, is just to make people realise that yeah, you can keep going when you're at your worst, and if you keep going, there's, do you know what I mean, there is greatness at the other side of suffering.
Yeah.
And like I say, I'm not saying that I'm a great person or I've achieved great things, but I've done all right. Do you know what I mean? And that satisfies me, knowing that, yeah, I'm still chipping away,
Yeah, you've done better than yesterday.
100%. And that's all it's about. Just being the better person today than you were yesterday.
No, I really resonate with you, which is why I've asked you to come on the podcast. Because I feel like your story is really relatable for people that are struggling. Like, I'm quite open about my mental health, probably nowhere near as much as you are. But from my videos and everything that I've been posting, all my vlogs and stuff, I've been saying that I'm struggling and I'm having a hard time. And the reason why I run and do these distances that I've never done before, and like I'm really pushing myself at the moment, is because I'm hoping that it transfers to my day-to-day life. Like the things that you were saying just then, whether it's like trying to be better each day or you're just trying to like push through and help other people, it's like I could relate it to running or to life.
Yeah.
Like it was one and the same in my mind, and I'm finding for myself that running is giving me that resilience in my life like nothing else has. Is that the same sort of for you?
Yeah, I just think it teaches you discipline as well. It teaches you because, like I say, I don't want to get up. I don't want to get up 5:05 to go running, and I run pretty much every day. So yeah, I don't want to do it. Yeah, I don't like doing it, but I just think if I have that day off or that couple of days off, then you're gonna fall back into a trap, and then yeah, where does that lead you then? Do you know what I mean? And I get like so this is the thing, like obviously there's deload weeks and taper weeks and stuff, and they're absolutely the worst thing for me to do because I know I have to be sensible and have the time off to recover. And it's like this week now, I'm like petrified this week now because I want to run tomorrow, but I know I can't because I got Canham on Saturday, and yeah, I got times in my head that I obviously that I want to do. So it's just like if I run all this week now and I don't do well on Saturday, and not well as in on scoreboards or anything like that. It's just well for myself because I like setting myself goals because yeah, they're personal to me, and they're just little things that I just need to achieve to keep moving on. So
I think like something that really has stuck with me about you is you always hear people saying, for me it's not about the like either the time or the placing or anything like that. And I know that I don't say that specifically because I do care. And it's like, I do want a podium. Like, I go to events and I'm like, I want to podium this event. Like, my first ever ultra I turned up for, I was like, yeah, I want to be like top 10 in my head. Yeah. Hadn't trained for it. No place to be having that confidence of being like, I want to be top 10. I literally came dead last, like a minute of the cut-off time. It was an awful experience. But I always turn up to the event being like, I either want to hit this time or I want to place this high up or whatever it might be. And sometimes it's out of my control. A lot of the time I get annoyed with myself, and everyone's like, why'd you get annoyed with yourself? You've just run an ultra. And I'm like, because I didn't hit the goal that I wanted, and they're taking that as, oh, he's just setting his expectations too high. Really, I know that I haven't ever properly trained for an ultra in my life. I've never dedicated as much time to running as I have now. Like, the last week or the week before was the first time I've hit 100k in a week without it being an event, and I've only hit 100k in a week 4 times. So that's how little I've been running, and for some people that sounds like a lot, but when you're looking at doing like 50-mile events, like 100k in a week should be pretty bog standard by that point. Yes. So I know for me that I don't say it because I know it'd be bullshit, but then I've met a lot of people like you that have said that it doesn't matter, and then they turn up and that's what they're like, and they'll get annoyed at themselves if they don't, and I'm like, oh, I thought it didn't matter. Yeah, no, but with you, like, we did the Nightmare Before Christmas half marathon, and a few of us went off track about a mile. You went off track not quite as far because you got turned around earlier, but then we were all chasing you pretty much, being like, fuck, we gotta beat Carl. And you technically came in second because you was the second person across the finish line, and then me and Chris finished after you, and you was like, no, I don't deserve second because you guys did that extra distance. If it wasn't for that, you would have beaten us. You would have beaten me. And like, first off, that's bullshit because I wouldn't have been running that fast if I hadn't gone off track trying to catch up with people. So I think you still would have. But also, like, how many people would give up a second place trophy? Like, you didn't take a trophy at all. It's not like you was like, I'll just take third.
Yeah, if I was sitting on my dresser in my house, I wouldn't have felt satisfied looking at that, knowing that I didn't win. Oh, it didn't come second fair and square. Do you know what I mean? It's
You did. You was the second one across the line. It's our fault for getting lost, really. You didn't follow the flags. Like Kev says at the start of each of his events, it's impossible to get lost, and everyone always gets lost.
like I say, I'm just happy to turn up an event and just get through it. It's and like I say, I always get to meet great people, and obviously that's where I've met you, is an ultra, and yeah, it's just that's why I do it, is the social aspect of it, because you always end up meeting like-minded people, and it's and it's never about results. I always say that I always tell like my buddy Sean and I'm gonna try and win this weekend and stuff like that, but that's only just to put pressure on myself, because I tend to thrive off pressure, and I usually put on social media that I got an event coming up. And again, that's to put pressure on myself, because I know there's the odd one or two people out there that want you to fail and want you to quit. So yeah, I just like putting that bit of pressure on me. So when I do hit that wall, then I always try and remember the reason why I got to keep pushing through and stuff, because I know there's people out there that want to see you fail and stuff. So. Yeah. I say it's just something that's in my head, because I don't think everybody wants the best for you. So yeah, I just like applying pressure.
It's just like I said, for me, if I didn't, like, I tell people, like, I'm going to podium. It's bullshit most of the time. I know that I'm not in a place to podium, but I'll always say it. But then if I don't hit it, I'll get annoyed. Whereas you don't. And like, that's such a good trait to have, is having that.
Really class myself as a runner neither, so like loads of people say, oh, you're a runner, and anyone is just like, nah,
you run. You're a runner.
I'm not a runner, but I just don't like.
What would you classify as a runner then? What's the difference between you and a runner?
It's like, do you know what I mean? Like, I got a mate who was like, so yeah, I got a mate and he's an absolutely incredible runner. Do you know what I mean? He's got like incredible marathon times, incredible half marathon times, and yeah, do you know what I mean? He was like sponsored as a, do you know what I mean, from a youngster growing up. I mean, to me, he's always been a runner.
Yeah.
I think he ran for Great Britain at one time and stuff, and yeah, so, and he was always at the top of his game. Yeah, that's what I've always classed as a runner. I'm just like somebody who just likes to suffer.
Would you class me as a runner?
Yeah.
I'm not like your friend. I'm not at the top of my game. I didn't run for GB. You've accomplished more than I have in running. This is my point. Like, I love this question, because everyone's like, I don't think that I'm a runner. And then I ask that question of, well, do you think I'm a runner? They're like, well, yeah. And I'm like, you do more than me. That's why you're on the podcast. That's why I'm not getting invited on podcasts, because you've achieved stuff and I haven't. So,
like I say, when so yeah, I think I felt. So yeah, Wild Horse was my biggest achievement, and that's when I think so that's when I think that I sort of could say I was a runner. But then I did for a couple of weeks, and then it all sort of, and then I stopped again then, so yeah, so.
I'm just fascinated by it, because, like, it's something that I've struggled with, because I didn't class myself as a runner, even though I'd run multiple ultras. And then I'm coaching people doing couch to 5k, And I'm like, yeah, you're a runner. And then they're like, but you're not a runner and you've done way more. And I'm like, that's a good point. Like, at what point does someone become a runner? Like, for me, if you go out purposely, like, on a regular basis to run, whether that's, like, it doesn't have to be regular in terms of, like, consistently doing certain mileage or anything, but if you're showing up, like, at least, like, once a week, once a month even, you're a runner. You run every day, basically.
I'll call myself a runner. I'll do it. I'll do it.
There you go. I got what I need from this podcast. We can end it there. Carl is now a runner. Let's go over some of your running achievements then. Now that you're a runner, because you've done a lot of events. Like, it's been 5 years since your first ultra.
Yeah, that's true.
So let's go through some of your biggest, what you would class as your biggest achievements.
Wild Horse 200 was my biggest achievement because it just felt like, it just felt way out of my depth. I done Dragon 100 as well, which was my step up from 50 milers. So I've done a fair few 50 milers. And I was always seemed to do okay in 50 milers. I think I come top 10 and top 20 in my 50 mile races. Not that matters, but yeah, it was like something that I was proud of. And I'm not a proud person, but yeah, they sat well with me. Wild Horse, that sat really good to me, which is why I haven't gone back to do it this year, because I just felt satisfied with. So I think I come 15th, and I completed it in 80 hours. So yeah, I was quite satisfied with that as well. So I'm not saying I wouldn't do it again, because I have great chi feet and really do want to do it next year. So but yeah, I got like 600 mile races booked this year. Well, 5 booked and 1 is a solo one for myself. So I just want to try and build up a resume just to be able to try and qualify for, like, out in Western States or Leadville or something, just to try and get out and achieve something out in America, and like not even achieve anything big, but something for myself.
Yeah.
Because I've always watched those, like the Leadville 100, and I've watched them on YouTube and stuff, and it just looks incredible. So I just think if I build up a big enough resume, then I'll be in a good place to be able to try for it. So
You've done a ton of events, and like, I would say in the area like South Wales, you're becoming like a bit of a local legend. Like, there's people that you see at events doing well and get recognised. Like, you probably don't feel like that at all, just because I know what you're like. But like, I put you up there with like Lee, local legend. Everyone knows Lee. Mike Jenkins, although he's not like necessarily placing in events and stuff, he's always doing them, and he is bloody quick. Like, I was running with him today. Like, there's just certain people that you know because they're always there. They're always doing events. They're always like present on social media and stuff. And it's like, even I'm getting recognised at ultras, and they're like, "Oh, you're the Adventure Athletes guy. You do the podcasts," and I'm like, "Yeah, but like, I'm like you were saying, like, I was like, I'm not a runner. Like, how am I known in the running community?" So it's like,
yeah, but when I seen you cross that finish line of Ridham with your arm in a sling, I was just like, I gotta get to know that guy, because he is a savage. Like, and yeah, it was right up my street, that was, to be fair. And that's when I spoke to you straight away, didn't I? And that's when we first met. So yeah, it's bliss.
oh, that was a funny old event. I always find, like, when I'm doing events, my pace never matches anyone else's. Like, I turn up at these events and everyone always goes on about ultras, like, yeah, you'll spend like 8 hours running with someone and you'll know each other's like lives inside out when by the end of it. I've barely run with anyone during ultras. Like, I think I've got this weird pace where I'm not quite fast enough to be in the front pack with that group, but I'm also like not matching anyone else's pace. So then I just like run on my own for miles and I don't see anyone until the finish.
The key is to burn out on the first 10 miles, which is what I do. I usually blow up on the first 10 miles and then, yeah, just chill out for the rest because I got nothing left.
You say that, but you do well at these events.
I'm stupid. I start off like really stupid. Like I always go off way too quick. I think like yesterday, I went off yesterday. I think my first mile was like 6:45, and I was there for I knew I was going to be there for 7 hours, but I still run my first mile in 6:45. So it was just like, just stupid. But
I think back to the nightmare before Christmas where I was like, oh, I'm going to run with Cole for a bit. You were off, and I was like, I'm going to keep up this pace. And we were like first two for a while. And then I was like, I'm dropping off. Like, fuck this. Within 2 miles, I was like, nah, you can have this.
yeah, but it's like when I done the other one. So what one did I do with Lee Davis? The other.
I don't know what it's called. It's part of the like the Hateful Eight sort of series.
It was Mad Running Junkies event, but yeah, I remember chasing Lee and Tom, I think it was, and I remember looking at my watch and I think I was like 5:20 and or 5:30, and I just couldn't get near them. They were just ridiculous. So I thought I'm not gonna keep this pace up.
Didn't they both run there as well?
Yeah. So Lee ran over and Tom actually went out and yeah, he done
He
some.
did a tempo session before.
So yeah, but yeah, no, I felt good sort of chasing them boys down, but yeah, I couldn't get near them. But yeah, it was good. It was good fun.
But this is what I mean. Like you're up there with them. You came third.
Come fourth.
Fourth.
Yeah.
Who came third?
I'm not sure where the guy come. I think he was the one who won it last year.
Okay.
So yeah, so he came third.
Yeah.
But yeah.
You came technically second at Nightmare Before Christmas one. You came what, like fourth on the Hateful Eight?
Yeah.
Which was the week before that event that you're just talking about there.
Yeah.
Like, you're up there, mate. You're not you're not slacking behind anywhere.
Keep trying, but again, like shorter races, I'm like literally I tend to like do okay at longer stuff. But I just seem to think like, yeah, I just find that the longer you're out, the more pain you're in. I just like that part of it, and yeah, the sleep deprivation, the hurt, and yeah, the having to feed yourself and hydrate yourself and to keep thinking and just keep figuring stuff out. That's the bits that I like. Yeah. I don't like it short, fast stuff. It absolutely drives me nuts. But that's why I said I'll never do a park run again because I can't do them. It's just ridiculous. But yeah, I'm quite excited about Canham on the weekend.
I've heard mixed reviews about the Canham.
Yeah, I just feel as if I'm going to be stupid. I feel as if I'm going to go out too fast. I think I'm going to burn out too quick. So
the official advice I've heard from Reese is go for a run-walk strategy.
Yeah, well, that's what Lee told me as well. So that's what I sort of tried to imply yesterday as well. So I tried that yesterday.
See, I'm not going for that when I do my version of the Canham. I'm running.
No, but I'm going to listen to Lee because Lee is the one to listen to, and he. So yeah, I'll definitely listen to him. So I implied that yesterday, and obviously I went to Cyprus the other week, and I run 32 miles around the athletics track in 28-degree heat. So yeah. So
how long did that take again? It wasn't that long.
Yeah, it was 5 hours and 20 minutes that took. So, but I tried Lee's method again. So I run a couple of loops, walked a loop, and then yeah, it was just but it worked out really well. So yeah, it's just all trial and error, isn't it? Learning off the best thing.
Yeah. I'm still in that like toxic road runners mindset of like, oh, if you walk, it's not running.
No, it's
that's what's in my head all the time, and I hate when I have to walk an event. And I genuinely think I do better from it, because although my running isn't fast, like I'm talking like uphills and stuff, my running's not fast uphill. I'm shit at an uphill. but it's slightly more than a walk. And although everyone's like, oh, it's more efficient if you walk, it probably is. But by the time I've stopped walking, my legs are like, we don't want to run now.
Yeah, well, I got a walking pace that I always say if I'm hiking a hill, I always want to try and hike a 14-minute pace.
Yeah.
So still pushing a hard hike. But I know then when you get to the top and you're on the descents, I know you can push a 6-7 minute pace, possibly go into the fives coming down as well, all depending on technical the terrain is. But yeah, I've tried it as well, and so I got a hill near me which is like, I think it's like nearly 2,000 foot, and I run it one day and run down, and I timed myself, and then a couple of days later I hiked it and run down, and I was faster hiking and running down than I was running up and running down.
Yeah.
So yeah, it just proved to me that this is what we need to be doing. So yeah, because I'm pants going uphill. I'm terrible, which is why I hike the hills. And again, using poles on hills, I just want to sling them. So it's just like, so yeah, it's just, but yeah, it's all good fun. It's like, it's just figuring stuff out. Like I said, it just feels like trying to figure life out. It's, you know what I mean, you have good times, you have bad times, and it's just staying in it and keeping going through it.
Yeah. Why don't you look into, like, I don't know if you've done much of it, to be honest, but like the personal challenge side of things, because like you've obviously seen the sort of stuff I do where I'm like, I'll do the 4-4-48 and I'll call you up fucking 2 in the morning out for a run, or I'll be like,
I knocked you out of bed at 2 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah,
Remember?
I was flat out. My alarm was going off, and I look over at my alarm and I go to turn it off, and I couldn't turn it off because then you started calling me, being like, well, I'm outside, like I've been outside for like 10 minutes already, and I was like, fuck.
What did I say, really? What did I say? Let's go and run.
Oh, mate. But yeah, like you've seen me do the 4-4-48, you've seen me I did that 496 thing last year. I tried flipping the tractor tyre, I've done a 50-mile barefoot walk. Why don't you look at that side of things? Because I get more from that than I do running an event.
Yeah, so I done the Goggins Challenge a few years back it was my first charity fundraising for Let's Talk Men's Mental Health. So obviously I've been involved with them for I think about 4 or 5 years. So yeah, they've always had my back, to be fair. They give me counselling and stuff when I needed it, and yeah, like my buddy Sean, is probably one of my best mates, he runs the charity, and I see what the charity does for people and stuff. So yeah, I've raised money for them a few times, and like this year I've opened like a year of fundraising which is why I'm doing like the 600 milers. Obviously to raise money for them, and obviously I'm doing ultras in between the 100 milers as well as training runs. So yeah, so the Epona's coming up first, which is, I'm like really excited to get Canham out of the way so I can start training for Epona properly, so I can get back on the mountains and keep doing that. But yeah, I do fancy doing something. Yeah, I do fancy doing something stupid. Really fancy doing something stupid. I've got a few things in mind.
Yeah, do you want to share any?
Well, one is I wanted to run an ultra around a track every day for a week. Not 5 days, 7 days. So yeah, that's something that interests me. So like 50k every day for 7 days, that's something I'm looking to do around an athletics track. Obviously I've got my 100-mile solo run, which I've got to do this year, which I am going to do. I've got a route in my head which I think will be 100 miles, but and yeah, obviously I've been looking into FKT stuff, coastal path stuff, but again, it's a lot of organising, getting sponsors, getting camper vans, and just getting people on board for that. But it's something I would like to look into. But like I say, I got to get this year out of the way first, because like I say, last year I wanted to do what I'm doing this year, but then obviously I had a Epona, I had Wild Horse thrown in the mix then, and all the hundreds went out the window then. So yeah. So like I had 9 weeks to train for Wild Horse. I got given 9 weeks notice, and
9 weeks notice to run a 200-mile race,
yeah.
and you came top 15.
And I was up London working at the time as well, so I wasn't even running either. So yeah, but it was good. I enjoyed the training for it. Because I put myself. I always said that I was going to put myself in the environment that I was going to suffer in. So like, I know there was a warning for a storm one day, so I went up Penavan and I went and run. Yeah, I think it was like 14, 15 miles, and I know one point I had to like lie down on the floor behind a banking because the wind was so strong and nearly took me off the edge. But yeah, but when we was doing Wild Horse, then there was there was quite a we had a nasty old time up on the mountain one night, and but yeah, we just kept moving efficiently, and everything was good. So because I was used to it, so yeah, I just think you should always train for the environment you're going to be in. So yeah.
No, I think. Well, this is just me talking now. I was going to generalize it to everyone, but I think people, i.e., me, massively underprepare for these events. I'm the worst for it because I just rock up and I'm like, yeah, what's the course? Where am I going? What am I doing? I'm starting to get better now. Like, usually I haven't even trained for an event, but I've been running consistently for 3 months now, and I've almost hit the same mileage that I did in the whole of last year in the past 3 months, and that's considering I did 496k in the first month last year. So yeah, like 100% this is the most prepared I've been. But like, what advice would you give for someone looking to get into ultras?
Yeah, just be prepared to suffer. Yeah, because if you, do you know what I mean? If you can suffer, then you're already in a good place, and because they're not easy, they're never easy. Do you know what I mean? There's so much can go right, there's so much can go wrong, and when it starts going wrong, you've got to start figuring the stuff out. And yeah, so like last year, I had a couple of DNFs last year, which was very new for me. Which one was a 50 miler, and I DNF'd at 40 miles, I think it was. Just had stomach issues, couldn't eat, couldn't drink, and then my legs just went fatigued, and I just didn't see the point in carrying on for the next 10 miles. So yeah, so I bailed on that one, and then obviously there was Copthorne. Well, I didn't really DNF Copthorne. It was just like, so Copthorne 200 is like, so it's a loop event up in Box Hill in Surrey, and it's just ridiculous elevation, it's steps, and it was just awful. But yeah, so I was just like, every loop I was going out, I was getting tight on the cut-offs, and then when I was getting to checkpoints, they were saying, "Oh, you've done. I don't know if you're going to make the cut-offs and stuff," and everything. Just the pressure of it just got to me, and then I was sick of climbing steps. And mentally, physically, I was very good. Like, I had Hannah crew with me, and I was feeding well, I was hydrating well, and everything was going smooth on that side of things. But mentally, I just got broke. And yeah, I done a backyard ultra in January. I drank way too much coffee, and again, stomach issues, and I didn't make one of the cut-offs. And so yeah, so I think I finished on Copthorne at 96 miles. I think I finished the backyard ultra around about 80 odd miles, I think, something like that. But yeah, it was something I was always scared of. I was always feared of it. But when it happens, it was quite sort of, it settled okay with me, because I knew that I didn't want to do it this year.
Yeah.
So I know that I know my mistakes. I know where I need to learn. I need to stop drinking so much coffee, and I need to start hydrating and supplementing well, and eating well as well. So yeah, that's a big lesson. So I would always advise to get dialed in on nutrition, and so it's feeding and drinking whilst you're working. So yeah, that's definitely 100% something I would advise.
Something I want to dig a bit deeper on is your connection with the Let's Talk Men's Mental Health charity. Because obviously, like, a big part of our stories is mental health.
Yeah.
So, like, how did that come about? I know you said that your mate basically runs it. So, like, how did the connection come about? What have you done with them? Are there any plans to do more in the future?
So I met Sean at some boot camp I was doing just so not long after I had my stroke, and I got talking to Sean, and we just clicked. It was just like he's just such a nice guy and that, and he was always like, I didn't really know him, but he was offering me so much and so much help and stuff. So we just got like really good mates and stuff, and I just wanted to give a little something back, because he was just always like, I can get you counselling, I can do this for you, I can do that for you, and it was just, so he pulled me out of a dark old place, because so I told him obviously my story, like after my concussion I took an overdose and stuff, and and he was just always like supporting me, always. Still does now. Like my biggest fan, unbelievable. Like he messaged me all the time. Do you know what I mean? Smash your runs and all this stuff, and I've just been made ambassador of Let's Talk Men's Mental Health as well. So and I went along to one of their group meetings on the weekend, and I spoke to a couple of boys there and stuff, and it's just something that's really sort of I feel the need to keep pushing, because there's so many men suffering, and like I've had, like one of my best mates took his own life a couple of years back, and I've seen his family go through a rough old time, and
Yeah, there's a lot to go through. Mental health is obviously becoming more and more accepted, like especially on social media and everything. There's way more charities and like just resources and help that you can get now. So if you did want to direct people to them, where can people go to get the help?
So they're on Instagram, they're on Facebook. Let's Talk Men's Mental Health. They got I think they got over 1,000 men on their online stuff that follows them, and I mean, people. There's a private page as well, so there's so you can ask any questions, you can ask for help, and it's just, and obviously they got a couple of local meetup places as well, where everybody meets up on a Wednesday. I think it's a Tuesday and a Thursday. There's coffee, biscuits, and stuff, and it's really good, really good old thing.
Well, it's an amazing thing for you to support that, especially with your background with mental health and everything as well. Do you have any plans with them for future? Like, are you doing any events with them or?
So this year they are sponsoring me for 2 events this year, so they're covering the cost of the event for me to run. So I think they are Black Beacons 100 and Serona, I think. So they're the 2 that they're going to cover the costs for. But again, like I say, this year I'm running all my events this year to raise money for those boys and stuff. So like I say, I've always used my running as a platform to raise awareness for them, because it's like I know people always see me taking photos of mountains and stuff when I'm on the mountains, like selfies and stuff, and put little quotes underneath and that. But that's when I'm at my most confident. So that's why I always take advantage of being on the mountains and stuff, because yeah, that's just where just feel, I just feel comfortable.
You're also recently sponsored by Hammer Nutrition, aren't you?
Um, yeah, yes, yeah. So I've just become one of the sponsored athletes, which yeah, it's not, like I say, it's not something that sits right with me, because because I did apply for it, but they got a sponsored athlete program, so it wasn't something that they seen special in me, but I applied for it, and yeah, and then they accepted my application, which yeah was. But I've used Hammer Nutrition for, so I used Hammer Nutrition all through Wild Horse training and through the event. Like, I used Hammer Nutrition on the athletics track in Cyprus the other week. I used it yesterday. I've used Hammer Nutrition for a long time, so yeah, to have them on board is obviously is a nice thing. But yeah, I didn't get given it because I'm anything special. I applied for it, so
Well, they don't just accept every application because they must get thousands. So, like there's something there with what you're doing. Just the whole thing of you being like, I'm not a runner.
but no, so yeah, I reached out to Sean the other day as well from Hammer, and because he knew that I was doing, so yeah, in a couple of weeks I'm starting a talk to run group for men suffering with mental health problems, just to meet up and talk and run and just try and get into running and stuff. So Hammer offered to send out some products for some boys to try and see if to see what they think of the stuff. So yeah, so Hammer on board with that, and yeah, so yeah, so we'll just keep trying.
Yeah. And you're starting off your running coaching journey as well.
Yeah, so I I've had enough of like my job. I think I've been doing my tiling and bathroom installations for probably the last 20 years, and like I say, I've been suffering bad sort of the last couple of months with my own mental health and stuff, and like bad thoughts creeping back in. So I started seeing a counsellor, and again I took myself to Cyprus, which is something way out of my comfort zone, because I think I've only ever been abroad like once, which was probably 10 years ago. So it was something way out of my comfort zone. But my mate lives out there, and he offered me to stay with him for a week. So I asked him if I could run an ultra out there first, and he was just like, "Yeah, come out, and I'll drop you there." And so we had some plans. So I got cheap flights. Yeah, got out there, and again, it was all part of like a healing process that I felt if I had to go to, and I had to try and figure some stuff out, which I did. And one of the realizations is chasing money and chasing work and doing a job that I don't love anymore is one of the biggest pressures for me, because I'm not really I'm not materialistic, I'm not money driven. I'm living in a flat that I can't afford, so I've handed my notice in my flat, and I'm just gonna live in a van, because I don't want to be doing this, chasing this. I just don't want to live in this rat race. You're just chasing your tail all the time and just going to work, doing something you don't love, just to fund somewhere that you're not happy living. So yeah, so figuring some stuff out was really good. I was like really pleased how quick I figured it out as well. But like I say, going to the counselling was like, I seen this woman called Liz, and literally she got me dialed in within like 2 sessions, and I was like, I mean, that was incredible. And yeah, so Soulmate, the running shop in Merthyr, which obviously you go to yourself, yeah, they paid for my counselling sessions. And yeah, they've also said to me as well, if I know anybody struggling with mental health and they need a counsellor, then they'll fund other people's counselling sessions, because they got a kick that they've had money raised for those reasons. Like so yeah.
I love Soulmate. They're doing such good things. Wearing their socks right now, covered in mud from my run earlier. Yeah, I'm gonna see if I can do more with Soulmate. So keep your eyes peeled, guys.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, like I just love your story and what you're promoting, and just everything you do for everyone else. I think you need to take a bit more time to appreciate yourself in all of this.
Yeah, I think, and I think that's where, like, obviously this sort of process over the last couple of weeks has come from, and again, this is one reason why I want to go into coaching and stuff, because, like I say, running has saved my life and does good things for my life. So I just think if I can help somebody on that type of journey and give them something that they can, do you know what I mean, that can save their lives or help them in a different way, then I just think to be part of that process is probably more rewarding than tiling somebody's bathroom. So yeah, I just think that's what I need to be doing.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I'm gonna, like, I've got a little bit of a different approach to how other coaches work. So, but yeah, we'll talk about that in the next couple of weeks. But yeah, I got some plans. So yeah.
Cool. Well, it's been a pleasure having you on, mate. Where can people go to find you online and follow your journey?
Yeah, so Elevate Trail and Ultra Running, I think, on Instagram, and yeah, just Carl Jones on Facebook. So yeah, just I share everything on there. Talk about my mental health and stuff, and yeah, I'm always there to answer to anybody who's struggling. And yeah, if anybody wants to reach out, just get in touch anytime.
Amazing. Thanks again for your time, mate. And yeah, I'm sure we'll be going for a run soon.
Right, before you go anywhere, guys, I just wanted to share some big news with you. Now, the reason why I've been so excited to have Carl on the podcast is because Adventure Athletes is expanding, and Carl is going to be joining us. So Carl is a running coach, as you probably heard about in the podcast. He's going to be working for Adventure Athletes doing online and in-person running coaching. Now, Carl is, as we've discovered, a phenomenal runner. He really knows what he's on about, and he really cares about what he's doing. His focus is getting people into running, getting people running beyond the limits that they've set themselves, and he's really supportive when it comes to mental health, as you can imagine from listening to the podcast. And for all of those reasons, you can see why he's a perfect fit for Adventure Athletes. So if you're looking at getting into running, we've got some online coaching spaces available with Carl. We've got some in-person coaching spaces available with Carl. And not only will you be working with Carl, but you'll also get high-level S&C coaching from me personally as well. So Adventure Athletes isn't just a collection of coaches, or that's not what it's going to be. It's going to be, you have access to a team. Okay, so it's not just, right, you're Carl's athlete, you're Will's athlete, this is what you're looking for, this is what you're looking for. If you want them separately, then you'll have to go to them separately. No, we don't do anything like that here. It's going to be, you've signed a package with Adventure Athletes, you get the full wealth of knowledge of all of the Adventure Athletes, no matter what package you're on, no matter what you're doing. If there's a different professional that we're working with that you want the knowledge from, you get it. Okay, it's all included in your pricing. So to find out more about our pricing and our structure and everything like that, go to adventureathletes.co.uk, where you can not just find out about our stuff, but you can book in, you can set up consultation, you can pretty much do everything on our website. So head over there now and let's get you involved with Adventure Athletes. Peace out, guys. Boom with that, baby!